Interview with Arsenal's Pablo Mari. I was never going to throw football out. The defender on his journey to the Premier League via Flamengo, and how it all stopped when he had just started. Pablo Mari had arrived, or hoped he had. 14 years after leaving home, 11 since his professional debut, and 8 since his second and last top-flight match in Spain. 3 months after the historic trophy that changed things, and 1 after the move that might change everything, he wondered if his moment had come and knew that if it did, he would grab it and not let go. Joining Arsenal was his 4th loan in as many seasons, his 8th club in 7 years across 4 countries, 3 levels and 2 continents, including the team he never even met, and he had made 267 appearances, but something had started. And then it stopped. After all that, the coronavirus crisis halted everything. At the other end of a Zoom call in North London, bare white wall behind him, the Spaniard smiles. At first, part of you thinks, geez, I finally got here, then had to leave again after 2 days to finish negotiating the contract. Came back. It was hard to get going. I hadn't done pre-season while everyone had been competing 7 months. Bit by bit, you get through the days, the weeks, and the moment you say, I'm ready, I can compete, this happens. The first thought was, damn, I wanted to keep playing. But this is no small thing. It's not a cold or a flu. When you see its magnitude, professional questions are secondary. What matters is everyone's health. Pablo Mari saw that firsthand. Signed on loan from Flamengo in late January, a difficult deal finally done. He sat in the stands when Arsenal were beaten by Olympiacos on the 27th of February. 4 days later, he made his debut against Portsmouth in the FA Cup, and 5 days after that came his first Premier League appearance against West Ham. He was at a disadvantage, a new arrival on loan, halfway through the season, joining one of Europe's top 5 leagues for the first time since he was a teenager, and making his first start at that level. But he impressed again. 2 appearances, 2 victories, 2 clean sheets. He did not get a third. The game against Manchester City on the 11th of March was postponed after the Olympiacos and Nottingham Forest owner, Evangelos Marinakis, tested positive for COVID-19, and Arsenal's players went into isolation. The next day, Mikel Arteta tested positive too. 7 weeks passed, the Spaniard on lockdown in a house with practically nothing in it, before he returned to his club's London Colney training ground on Monday. Those days are a jumble of messages, disconcerting. We'll never know if Marinakis was the reason, if the manager caught it somewhere else, but from that moment we were in quarantine. At first we were very scared, hoping he would be okay, that nothing would happen to him or affect his family, Pablo Mari says. Things calmed. I think none of the team had the virus. We didn't do tests, we did 15 days at home and no one had symptoms. This was not how he had planned it, but then nothing has been quite the way Pablo Mari planned it. Lockdown, another chapter in an unusual journey. His route to Arsenal at 26 was not exactly direct. I've been a professional 10 years, and por gracia or desgracia, for better or worse, I've been round and round. That's one way of putting it. Pablo Mari joined Mallorca at 14, making his debut in Spain's 3rd tier with the B team aged 17, then twice played in Primera, 2 substitute appearances 6 months apart. There were 3 years at Gimnàstic de Tarragona, but that was followed by single seasons at Girona, where he barely played, NAC Breda in the Netherlands, and Deportivo La Coruña, ending with playoff defeat. He didn't belong to any of them. When he left Gimnàstic in 2016, it was for Manchester City, but the next day Pablo Mari was gone again, loaned to Girona. When he was finally sold after 2 more loans, it was to Brazil of all places. Well, he says, by then we'd changed cities 4 times in 4 years, so our mentality was different. A footballer's life is short and we'd been waiting for years for an opportunity. We didn't care where, and we knew the moment we got it, we were going to take it. He did not get it in Manchester, but there's no recrimination. He doesn't know if Arteta's time there might explain Arsenal's approach. I suppose you could connect those loose ends. I haven't asked Mikel, he says. But he never met Pep Guardiola. Never met anyone, in fact. You'll go to the city campus for medicals each year, blood tests, urine, scans. But when I went to the Netherlands and Corona, the city first team hadn't started pre-season, so there was no one there. You never cross paths. That can feel a bit strange, but City were transparent. The plan was always to go on loan. They help you find teams but never oblige you, and the last word always has to be yours. After 2 years, I said I wanted to return to Spain, go step by step awaiting a chance in Primera. Look, a player has to have one thing very clear: how much you're prepared to lose to be a professional. You have to ask yourself that question and be honest. It will never ever be all lovely or all awful. My objective was clear. Whether it was City or not, I was going to get to a big club. I was absolutely convinced ever since I left home at 13. At 25, it still hadn't happened, and yet he insists. I never thought of giving up. Never. I've had really bad moments, but you can't ever leave something you love. Football might have thrown me out, but I was never going to throw it out. Even if after a decade you'd been stuck in the 3rd tier, I'd still be playing, absolutely, for sure. Then Pablo Mari smiles again. And look how things happen. Pretty well, just not the way he imagined it. The breakthrough came 5,200 miles from home. Flamengo, Brazil's most popular club, offered City 1.3 million euros. My footballing curve, I never thought this could happen. But over the years of work, injuries, without opportunities, I've learned that deep inside an attitude builds which says, the moment someone gives me the chance, there's no way I'm letting go. Flamenco gave me that. Any doubts went up in a cloud of smoke. Almost overnight, Pablo Mari went from the 2nd division to the Maracana, a place where 80,000 people never stop singing, living their day like there's nothing else in the world. Right place, right time. If I'd gone younger, it might have been different. It's thanks to those years of fighting, hard times, that those 6 months were so wonderful. Pablo Mari's first medals followed, the first Spaniard to win the Brazilian title and the Copa Libertadores, secured with 2 late goals. Una barbaridad, he calls it. I still don't have the words and don't think I ever will. I'll never forget it. It's etched onto my heart. Nor will one particular flamenco fan watching from London. When it is suggested that he is David Luiz's hero now, Pablo Mari laughs. I don't think I'm his idol, but we did talk about the final. He's helped me loads. Anything I needed, he was there. David is so intelligent, great in the dressing room, always joking, but the first to pull on his overalls to work. And we were very comfortable playing alongside each other, which is a good sign. A big club needs the centre-backs to connect. The connection was swiftly broken by COVID-19. A foreigner in London for only 6 weeks and his house for 2, Pablo Mari might have been tempted to head home, but he stayed. From there, he talks about Arteta. Close to the players, but demanding too. About new teammates, players of tremendous quality, and their duties to everyone at the club, including through pay cuts. We're discussing now to help, talking constantly. We have to support the club and the employees who work so hard for us. It's important to contribute. He talks too about NHS staff doing an immense job and of keeping his small son entertained with no toys. The poor thing. And working from an empty home, a routine finally broken this week. The club had been sending daily plans, revising them regularly, and they sent me a bike, gym equipment, weights. Pablo Mari does not know if the season will be salvaged and says mentally it is best not to think about that. What he does know is how he would like things to look beyond that. He doesn't want to walk out of lockdown and out of another club either. England's good for me. There's 1,000 things to improve, but I fit. I'm happy and I'd really like Arsenal to use the purchase option. With the coronavirus situation, I don't know what's happening. It's difficult, but I hope I can belong here. My moment has arrived, the chance to sign for 4 years, an opportunity I think I've earned. It's time. I like the idea of no longer going round and round. If I have to, I'll keep going until my career ends, but I think I've found a club to put down roots. A traditional club that supports its people, people who believe in it and give everything. I'd like to be part of that, a great footballer for many years for Arsenal.